A narrative that is so passionate, ambiguous, and unbelievable that people are unable to distinguish between fact and fiction is sweeping the internet tonight, in what many are describing as one of the most intense arguments ever witnessed in right-wing media. Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro recently squared off. However, an unforeseen turn of events rocked everything to its foundation just as the tension reached its climax. Social media began to buzz with rumors that Charlie Kirk had left. Yes, you heard correctly. According to reports, Turning Point USA's founder disappeared for unknown reasons, and it had nothing to do with nature. They made Charlie disappear. Went viral, lighting up timelines and sparking countless speculations, according to online conversation. Desperate to learn the truth about what actually transpired behind the scenes, people called out individuals close to him and demanded answers. Never one to keep quiet, Candace's cryptic tone and incisive remarks exacerbated the situation. You think this is just a coincidence? You think Charlie just disappeared? No, Ben, you know what's going on, she replied, her voice low and her gaze intense. There was an electric tension in the room. It was almost palpable through the television. Ben Shapiro could not speak, and then everything was different. Nobody could tell if it was a rumor, a fact, or something else entirely. However, one thing was evident. The world was enthralled with the mystery surrounding Charlie Kirk, which had evolved from mere conjecture, with hashtags like #TheySilence, Charlie Kirk and Candace versus Ben taking over every stream. Twitter descended into mayhem. Hashtags like Truth Exposed are now dominating all global timelines. Thanks to Ben, videos of Candace's venomous remarks are all over Instagram and TikTok X, and everyone is asking the same question. Who is it she is referring to? The internet is ablaze with speculation about whether Candace Owens has made the most audacious admission of her career or if she has unintentionally placed herself in the crosshairs of the very authorities she is criticizing. Since if that tense confrontation between Candace and Ben Shapiro could be the beginning of something lot larger, more complex, and far more unpredictable if Charlie Kirk indeed disappeared under suspicious circumstances. This is not merely a contentious discussion. Every social media platform is being rocked by a political earthquake. Candace's remarks stopped people cold when she spoke, rather than just becoming a trend. Her words suggested something the world wasn't prepared to deal with, something that was nearly illegal to say aloud. In order to truly understand why this moment went astray, we must turn the clock back. Rewind to the first time that Candace, Ben, and Charlie entered the same power circle. From the outside, their alliance always appeared strong, but even before the cameras ever captured them, they were beginning to show signs of weakness. Once known as the unstoppable spark, Candace Owens wasn't always the conservative figurehead she is today. She started out as a liberal blogger, but completely changed course to become an outspoken, unvarnished, and courageous conservative voice. Being cautious or courteous wasn't important to Candace. She had no filter and was all fire. She was prepared to burn every bridge that stood in her way because she spoke with passion, emotion, and without hesitation. With the most recent storm encircling her, that same flame is now more intense than ever, eroding the polished political masks and leaving the world with one unanswered question. Is Candace Owens playing an uncontrollably risky game, or is she exposing the truth? Millions of people continue to support Hillary because of this. She is fearless, loud, and unstoppable, whether you love her or not. Candace behind closed doors, Owens has faced up against politicians, celebrities, and even her own purported allies. Those in positions of authority mutter that Candace is too wild for the traditional conservative world, but she is also too powerful to be ignored. She has a hold over a younger, more irate generation that is impossible for mainstream speakers to penetrate. They sense her unadulterated passion, fire, and defiance. Ben Shapiro, the movement's alleged brain, comes next. Ben established himself as the cool-headed strategic thinker of the right with his incisive arguments and lawyer-like accuracy. He communicates clearly and quickly, and he never allows emotion cloud his judgment. Complete authority. But there's more going on beneath that cool, sensibly exterior. Strong connections to think tanks, large contributors, the conservative elite, and the invisible power brokers who view him as the movement's safe face. Ben was the system's defense if Candace was the catalyst for rebellion. Between them stood Charlie Kirk, the force that turned Turning Point USA into a multi-million-dollar, youth-driven business. By scheduling celebrities, packing arenas with enthusiastic students, and positioning himself as the ultimate young warrior who is conservative, he served as an inspiration to others who followed him. Critics, meanwhile, saw him as a living mystery, brimming with ambition and mysteries that no one could fully unravel. Hailed as the conservative wave's future, Candace, Ben, Charlie, and the Golden Trio stood united on stage, online, and on camera for years. However, astute fans started to notice the stress that was brewing beneath the well-preserved smiles. Candace began to feel like a cog in Charlie's wheel. Ben, however, privately questioned her erratic behavior and referred to her as a risk to Meanwhile, Charlie had become conceited. According to insiders, He considered himself to be the mastermind, the leader, and the one with all the power. Convenience, not trust, was the foundation of their alliance. Candace was the first to speak up when egos, money, and influence began to collide, making it impossible to conceal the fissures. She left cryptic clues about covert transactions, undiscovered monies, and dubious money trails that no one wanted to be made public. Candace started leaking shocking information about unknown contributors and phony supporters, who were surreptitiously manipulating the movement from within. She didn't names, but the hints were clear enough for everyone to hear, and the message was unmistakable. Ever the epitome of composure, Ben Shapiro refrained from giving a straight clapback. He instead cast veiled criticism, implying that some people were allowing their feelings to override the arguments and plans they had established. No one was able to extinguish the fire that was ignited by that spark. An uncontrollable conflict between ego, reason, and unadulterated passion ensued, and there was no going back once it got going. Fans quickly recognized who social media exploded with a single, obvious conclusion regarding what Ben was discussing. Candace Owens was being called out by him. Charlie Kirk was frantically attempting to maintain harmony between his two biggest performers, but his own reputation was beginning to deteriorate. The rumors spread quickly. Rumors of covert liaisons, backroom transactions, and a previously unknown aspect of Charlie. According to some anonymous reports, his Christian warrior persona was merely a stage act, implying that the man behind the scenes didn't align with the teachings he advocated. People were hungry for the truth, startled, and split. Then the tipping point arrived. When Candace and Ben squared off in front of the world, all of their spoken animosities and concealed insults suddenly came to the surface. What began as a straightforward argument escalated into an intense emotional altercation that no one anticipated. Jaws were dropping, cameras were rolling, and the tension in the air was so intense that it might have broken steel. Candace leaned forward in that explosive instant, her eyes fixed on Ben and her words as sharp as glass. "Are you sure this was an accident?" She spoke slowly. The room fell silent. "Do you think Charlie just vanished?" "No, Ben, you know better." It was no longer merely a dispute. It was a charge made in public. Candace wasn't only pointing the finger at Ben Shapiro. She was indicating a very larger object. She implied that Charlie Kirk's bizarre disappearance was more than a quiet break, a retreat, or a controversy. She suggested that it was done on purpose, a silencing by higher powers who did not want the truth to be out. If that's true, then unity was never the goal of Candace, Ben, and Charlie's collaboration. Control was the key. Politics wasn't the only factor here. It was about surviving in a system that was based on inconsistencies and covert agreements. The whole room froze when Candace said those words. A pin could be heard dropping. This was not merely a scathing retort or a catchphrase that went viral. The conservative world was blown apart by the shockwave. Even Ben Shapiro, who is renowned for his blazingly quick comebacks, was momentarily rendered speechless. And there was nothing more telling. According to witnesses, Candace and Ben got into a heated argument in front of everyone on stage. It wasn't just a heated argument. It revolved around trust, power, and loyalty, and was explosive. The first break appeared in Ben's smooth, composed mask. His jaw clenched, his face tensed, and his eyes darted to the cameras as if he was planning every action. Then, at last, he spoke with that signature, Shapiro smirk. "This is absurd, Candace. Charlie Kirk is doing well. To be honest, spreading untrue tales is simply harming your reputation." However, Ben's words fueled the flames rather than putting out the fire. The fact that he never explicitly refuted what Candace hinted to was immediately apparent to live viewers, which only served to heighten the mystery. Did he dare reveal something about someone behind the scenes, or was he just shielding himself? The strain was intolerable. The audience was no longer able to contain themselves. One half of the audience began jeering Candace and yelling that she had gone too far, while the other half cheered her on for voicing the truth that no one else dared to. The audience began to chant after that, "Charlie, where are you? Charlie, where are you?" It quickly spread and reverberated like thunder across the entire venue. The scenario went totally out of hand, and security had to arrive quickly to quell the commotion. Every second was captured by cameras, and in a matter of minutes, the video was all over social media. The hashtag #Where is Charlie Kirk was trending globally by the time the event even ended. Clips on TikTok went viral. Ben Shapiro was recently exposed live by Candace Owens. Convinced that there was more to this narrative than anyone was acknowledging, fans analyzed every picture, every expression, and every word. The most peculiar aspect of it was that Charlie Kirk himself remained mute for weeks while the internet went crazy. And that quiet was more powerful than anything Ben or Candace could say. There has been nothing for weeks. Nothing from Charlie Kirk, no videos, no posts, no pivotal moments, no interviews. This kind of silence felt quite strange to a man who used to spend his life online. posting updates to his fans every day. Fans took note right away and dug deeper, unearthing old pictures of Charlie with influential contributors and divisive leaders. And some started muttering that perhaps, just possibly, he came too close to secrets that shouldn't have been made public. Then the internet storm hit. With a wacky theory, channels such as Truth Uncovered and Exposed Files began airing. They silenced him, saying that Charlie had been shut down rather than being gone. On the internet, the hypothesis took off like wildfire. It started as a disagreement but quickly grew into a full-fledged online firestorm with each new tweet, video, and post. It was an easy question that reverberated everywhere. Charlie Kirk, where are you? Some whispered that the very forces he had once worked with had forced him into quiet, while others asserted that he was being hidden for his own protection. The narrative then took its first unexpected turn. The messages that were leaked. Screenshots purportedly depicting a text exchange between Candace Owens and an unidentified contact stored as CK began making the rounds on the internet. Candace allegedly wrote in the text, "After me, you need to get out of there before it's too late." The alleged reply from CK was spooky. "I can't. They'll find me. You have no idea how serious this is." The account that uploaded the screenshots disappeared within hours, and it was deleted without a reason. However, the internet was already in full swing. Did Charlie find himself ensnared in something much larger than anyone could have imagined? Every platform saw a flurry of theories, and the narrative took on the feel of a political thriller. Then Ben Shapiro was the target of the heat, with captions like, "Ben knows something," and "Put Master Ben all." Old videos of Ben being uncomfortable or avoiding questioning began to become viral. Memes about Ben pulling the strings, Ben behind the curtain, and Ben silencing Charlie were all over the internet. That quiet became deafening as even devoted conservatives started to ask, if Ben is so sure Charlie is fine, why not prove it? Why hasn't Turning Point USA said a single word? The more Ben and the group remained silent, the more people thought there was a deeper motive. Then it grew increasingly black late one evening. The second twist came. A mysterious, terrifying statement was uploaded by an unknown account at Shadow Lake. Charlie made an unsuccessful attempt to expose them. Candace is next if she continues. A grainy photo that seemed to show two guys in dark suits escorting a man who looked like Charlie Kirk into a black SUV was attached. The post went viral in a matter of minutes before being inexplicably removed. However, the harm had already been done by that point. The mystery surrounding Charlie Kirk's disappearance had definitely entered a scary realm, and the internet had its own new fixation. It was difficult to verify because the picture was dark and blurry. However, that was irrelevant. Instantly, the internet came alive. Bloggers, conspiracy theorists, and self-described insiders went into overdrive, analyzing every single pixel of that picture. Some said it was obviously faked. Some people insisted it was real. But one thing was universally acknowledged. What Candace Owens said was no longer merely a tirade. They served as a warning. The narrative had now reached a breaking point. The online chaos was unbelievable. The comment sections were overflowing. Group chats were starting to appear. Additionally, hashtag usage was becoming out of hand. Everyone was asking, did Candace Owens unintentionally reveal something enormous? Was she implying that something or someone far larger than them all had silenced Charlie Kirk? Where in the world was Charlie now, if that spooky SUV photo was real? Candace's cryptic remarks seemed to reveal a truth that people were afraid to speak aloud, and everything fell apart the moment she did. There were rumors, leaks, betrayals, and a never-ending media storm that only got louder. Then, suddenly, there was the next shocking turn of events. An enigmatic audio recording. An anonymous account posted what they said was a private conversation between Candace and Charlie himself. A muffled male voice that sounded uncannily similar to Charlie's could be heard, murmuring, "Candace, I'm worried. In the video, it'll be over if I tell. You have no idea who we're interacting with." Then, a cool, collected female voice, possibly that of Candace, retorted, "So why call me? You knew they were going to get me." The recording ended then, with no further explanation or conclusion, just quiet. Ben Shapiro jumped into the fray, posting a quick response video, dismissing the recording as fake, saying it was all internet drama gone too far. But instead of calm the storm, his reaction only made things worse. At first, some believed it was an AI-generated or edited video, but for millions of others, it was the last evidence that Charlie Kirk was in serious danger. And Candace Owens was the only one brave enough to risk everything by speaking up. Social media exploded all over again, with people playing the audio repeatedly and debating every second of it. Even respected commentators began to side-eye Ben's silence. And, as one popular account, TruthSeeker92, claims, Ben was no longer being seen as a bystander but rather as a potential gatekeeper, protecting influential donors and the invisible forces behind the curtain. At this point, even conservatives who were devoted to Charlie Kirk were beginning to fear that he had gotten too deeply involved. His voice was cold, his responses were ambiguous, and he appeared nervous to many. Turning Point USA's official account remained eerily silent, posting only vague motivational messages about continuing the mission without once mentioning the founders' names. That silence spoke volumes. Then the story exploded beyond politics and took over pop culture. And Kanye West jumped into the chaos with a cryptic post that said, "They always go after the ones who know too much." Fans demanded proof of life on social media, pleading for a statement or photo that showed he was okay. Charlie, who comes next? Andrew Tate dropped a video claiming Charlie's disappearance was part of some massive global agenda. And Elon Musk, he just tweeted, "Where's Charlie?" Within hours, the hashtag went viral thanks to 3 words. The mainstream media attempted to put out the fire by calling the whole thing a bogus conspiracy theory. But the more they tried, the more people thought something genuine was being concealed. It seemed like each denial fueled the digital fire. The next stunner occurred when someone posing as a Turning Point USA staffer submitted an anonymous message to the media saying, "Charlie hasn't shown up in weeks." The public was no longer buying it. "We were warned not to ask questions by management. Everyone is afraid." Candace is more knowledgeable than she admits. When it appeared that things couldn't get much wilder, another post went viral right away, turning curiosity into a full-fledged obsession. Charlie Kirk's secret legacy fund was a leaked internal email that described Turning Point's continuance of operations plan in light of recent events, leading the public to believe that the organization had been preparing for something bad. The message was clear enough to cause panic, but no one mentioned the word gone. Why discuss a legacy fund if Charlie was doing fine? Turning Point USA hurried to shut it all down, calling it a hoax, but it was too late. Millions of people posted the screenshots on X, TikTok, Reddit, and Telegram. And in the midst of the commotion, Candace Owens made an appearance on Instagram Live, her countenance unwavering, her tone solemn, and she declared, "I know what I'm talking about. I'm friends with Charlie. He disclosed to me information that led to his troubles. And you're deluding yourself if you believe Ben is unaware." She did not offer proof. If you believe Ben is unaware, she did not offer proof. However, the conviction in her voice was sufficient to cause yet another uproar on the internet. At this point, hypotheses, videos, and screenshots were all over social media. And when it seemed like it couldn't get much darker, Sean's anonymous post surfaced. A grainy photo that appeared to have been taken in a hospital featured a man who had a striking resemblance to Charlie Kirk. He is no longer there. Like a tidal wave, those 2 words went viral on the internet. No one was able to verify the authenticity of that enigmatic photograph. According to some, it was created by AI. Others insisted that every detail matched precisely as they zoomed in frame by frame. Social media was divided into 2 opposing factions in a matter of hours. Charlie is both dead and alive. The strain was intolerable, and Ben Shapiro said nothing in the midst of it all. Just silence, neither confirmation nor denial. That one decision made matters worse and left a lingering question that permeates the digital world. Has Charlie Kirk been silenced forever, or is he still alive? This is more than just a personal dispute with Ben. If Candace Owens is being honest, this political upheaval has the potential to destroy the conservative movement as a whole. What began as a heated dispute has grown into one of the decade's most significant cultural storms. Additionally, the hazy picture, the rumors, and the odd quiet from Turning Point USA only served to intensify the confusion. The internet was infatuated. Everybody had a theory about YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok X. Some users asserted that they were able to decipher Candace's interviews, body language. Others said that Ben's eyes revealed everything, slowing down his reactions frame by frame. Discussions raged on Truth Hunter 92 and other forums. Charlie would have posted by now if he were truly okay. Something's wrong, one user commented. In response, the online community was split. Candace isn't crazy. She's risking everything to tell us what's really going on. One side accused Candace of pulling the movement apart from inside, while the other portrayed her as a truth-teller who revealed a hidden mechanism. The memes kept coming in. Candace was rebranded as the whistleblower. Ben was edited into the Puppet Master movie posters, and Charlie's visage was emblazoned on milk boxes. Not even the Turning Point USA crew was exempt. According to insiders, staff members whispered that they had been informed, and donors were in a frenzy, seeking evidence that Charlie was okay, to be silent and behave normally. Even prominent conservative voices began to take sides. If they can make Charlie vanish, no one is safe, some said, throwing their full support behind Candace. Others made fun of her, calling her an internal saboteur set up to sabotage the movement from inside. However, the drama escalated to a whole new level when Hollywood began to weigh in. "Charlie told me things they don't want us to live long enough to repeat," was the post that Kanye West made, and it sent shockwaves through the internet. 1,000 fresh thoughts were sparked by that small absence. When things couldn't get any stranger, Aaliyah Banks entered the fray with her signature snark, sending a tweet that went viral right away and sent the craze even farther out of control. Commenters filled the comments with questions like, Why not just say he's fine? What are they hiding? The whole internet wasn't merely observing a mystery at this point. It was residing within one. Thus the query continued to reverberate, louder than before. Charlie Kirk, where are you? The internet is enjoying every moment of conservatives betraying one another. One commenter remarked, "Oh my gosh, pass the popcorn," as the drama escalated to the level of a soap opera. Even late-night shows were compelled to participate. I don't know who to trust, but this is the juiciest political drama of the year. One comedian remarked. Candace claims Charlie is gone, while Ben claims he's okay. The audience roared, but beneath the laughter was tension. The political shockwaves hit Washington quickly, and reporters began asking Republican lawmakers if they had spoken to Charlie Kirk. Most of them stammered that they thought he was fine, but none of them provided concrete evidence. Meanwhile, Democrats took advantage of the situation to make fun of him, saying, first they said the election was stolen. Charlie Kirk was allegedly stolen. Charlie Kirk was more than just a figurehead. He was the link between young, social media-savvy conservatives and the broader movement. I guess the season finale is coming soon. Jokes were all over the place, but even critics were aware that something odd was happening behind the scenes. Political insiders started to whisper that this was a crisis that could shake the foundation of modern conservatism. Clips of Ben Shapiro arguing with Candace Owens were played back millions of times on TikTok, YouTube, and X's cool, collected tone, which was once his trademark, now made him appear cold, robotic, and even suspicious. Comment sections exploded with theories that Ben knows more than he's saying. If his reputation really collapsed, or worse, if he was truly gone, that bridge could fall apart overnight, leaving the next generation leader without a leader. He and Charlie fought, and Candace is paying the price. What began as rumors became a full-fledged civil war within the conservative movement, with forums, podcasts, and even political commentators picking sides. Team Candace or Team Ben? Every action Ben took only served to increase suspicion, and the more he attempted to appear normal and post his typical content, the louder the internet retorted, "Where is Charlie?" By this point, people weren't requesting statements because they wanted evidence, a picture, a video, anything that showed Charlie Kirk was alright, but each day that went by without one only served to deepen the story. Rumors mounted, phony screenshots proliferated, and dubious leaks continued to surface, all of which further twisted the story. Then, suddenly, Candace Owens lit up social media once more with a single cryptic tweet that sent everyone into a frenzy. Ben has the ability to spin his words. The media can laugh. Tapuza can hide. But the truth is coming, and when it comes out, you'll understand why Charlie left. The tweet went viral in a matter of minutes, with hundreds of thousands of likes, reposts, and reactions as people frantically tried to figure out what she was referring to. Was she giving away another clue, or was she alerting everyone to the impending revelation of something significant? One thing was clear: the internet was in overdrive, buzzing, speculating, and going crazy over whatever Candace was hinting at next. Did Candace really have proof? Was she about to reveal something massive, or was this just the desperate cry of someone cornered by forces far larger than herself? Whatever the truth is, one thing is certain: Candace Owens had broken through the conservative machine like never before. They think they can write Charlie off, pretend nothing happened. But I won't be silent, because if I'm silent, I'm next. And you know who they are. Whether Charlie Kirk was alive, missing, or just laying low, the fallout was just getting started. Late one night, Candace went live. There were no fancy setups or bright lights, just raw emotion. Her voice, which had once been sharp and defiant, sounded exhausted but determined. Then, like clockwork, a brand new leak appeared on the internet. This time from an anonymous account that released what appeared to be internal documents allegedly linking Turning Point USA donors to dubious shell companies and hidden foundations. Among the files was a blurry page that appeared to be Charlie Kirk's signature on an international confidentiality agreement. That final line hit the internet like lightning, and within minutes, the hash "Who are they?" was trending globally as millions attempted to figure out who she meant. After weeks of pressure, Ben Shapiro finally broke his silence on his podcast. His voice was firm, but his eyes looked worn down, exhausted. The image went viral instantly, reigniting the theory that Charlie wasn't silent by choice, but was being silenced. Was he trapped in a web of power too deep to escape, or was he quietly trying to break free from the very empire he helped build? Owens is spreading lies that simply aren't true, he said sharply. But what he said next sent the internet into a total meltdown. Charlie Kirk is safe. He just can't speak right now. If Charlie was safe, why couldn't he speak? Why wasn't there a video, a selfie, or even a tweet from his verified account? Fans weren't buying it as evidence that something was undoubtedly being concealed. They interpreted Ben's comment as an unintentional admission. Candace Owens then returned with a single post that split the internet in two. Watch the video. A grainy, low-quality image that appeared to be a security camera frame was attached, showing a man who looked like Charlie Kirk, surrounded by a number of men in dark suits in what appeared to be an underground parking lot. The caption read, "Last time I saw him." The internet was frozen by that one line. and within minutes the image was shared on all platforms before being mysteriously removed. However, it was too late. Millions had already viewed, saved, reposted, and analyzed it. And every influencer, podcast, and conspiracy page was dissecting it frame by frame. Was Charlie being watched, or was the machine he once helped create hiding him away? The conservative world was in utter turmoil, with comment sections exploding with fear and rage and theories piling up faster than anyone could keep track of. Had Charlie turned whistleblower? Was Candace next? Was Ben defending the truth, or something much darker? The internet was ablaze with one haunting question. Was this Candace's last warning before question? Was this Candace's last warning before